Let us begin with a core truth of cognitive science. Your brain has an energy budget. Although it weighs only about 2% of your body mass, your brain consumes more than 20% of your daily energy. Every act of focus, planning, emotion regulation, memory retrieval, and problem-solving costs metabolic fuel. This fuel is primarily glucose and oxygen used to create ATP, your brain's energy currency. Now here is the critical part: your brain cannot run at full output all day. Just like muscles fatigue with use, so do your neural circuits. But unlike your physical body, your brain does not give obvious signals until it is already overloaded. Burnout begins when your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that manages planning, attention, and impulse control, enters a chronic state of overuse without restoration. It becomes metabolically depleted. Blood flow and glucose delivery drop. You become less capable of doing high-level thinking, yet still try to function as if you are. Add to this the constant distractor load of modern life, notifications, task switching, and cognitive multitasking, and your energy budget gets shredded. You are left in a state of neural insufficiency. There is not enough bandwidth to think clearly, care deeply, or execute efficiently. This is when burnout turns from fatigue into functional impairment. You forget names. You reread the same sentence 5 times. You feel emotionally indifferent. This is not just stress. This is the brain's emergency shutdown mode. Ask yourself, are you constantly demanding high performance from a system that is already redlining? Cognitive science identifies burnout as a syndrome with 3 core components. These are not vague feelings. They are measurable brain state shifts. Let us break them down. 1. Cognitive exhaustion. This is the first sign. You feel mentally tired even if you slept. Your working memory becomes unreliable. Your ability to sustain attention shortens. This is linked to reduced dopaminergic tone in the prefrontal cortex. 2. Emotional detachment. You stop caring. Not because you are apathetic, but because your limbic system is dysregulated. The brain suppresses emotional input to conserve energy. Empathy drops. Cynicism rises. You start to feel numb or robotic. 3. Motivational collapse. Even tasks that once felt meaningful now feel burdensome. This is caused by downregulation of the mesolimbic dopamine system, your motivation pathway. Your brain begins to withhold dopamine from effort to protect itself. These 3 pillars, mental fog, emotional flatness, and loss of drive, are not just feelings. They are neuroadaptive responses to energy overload. Your brain is not broken. It is trying to survive. But over time, if left uncorrected, these adaptations become chronic. Your baseline shifts. You start functioning at 60%, then 40%, then lower, without realizing how far you have drifted. Challenge: identify which of these 3 dimensions, cognitive, emotional, or motivational, you feel the most depleted in right now. 2 chemicals largely govern how burnout forms: dopamine and cortisol. When these 2 systems fall out of sync, the result is chronic stress, impaired performance, and emotional flattening. Dopamine is your drive molecule. It is released in anticipation of reward, fuels curiosity, and helps you persist through effort. But dopamine requires cycles: peaks and troughs. When you are always chasing goals without pauses for restoration, you overextend the system. Receptors become desensitized. You stop feeling rewarded, no matter how much you achieve. This is why high performers often burn out. They have hijacked their dopamine system through constant stimulation. Scrolling, caffeine, multitasking, and left no room for reset. Meanwhile, cortisol, the primary stress hormone, keeps you alert and responsive, but chronic elevation of cortisol, especially in the absence of recovery, impairs hippocampal function, as memory, increases amygdala reactivity, ease anxiety, and inhibits prefrontal function, focus. Cortisol was designed for acute stress, but in burnout, it becomes tonic, always on, always draining. The interplay of low dopamine and high cortisol creates the classic burnout state: low energy, high stress, no motivation. To recover, you must retrain these systems, not with rest alone, but with structured neurochemical recalibration. Ask yourself, have your wins started to feel empty? That is not failure. That is dopamine dysregulation. One of the most common drivers of burnout is not overwork. It is cognitive fragmentation. You are not just doing too much. You are switching between tasks too often. Email, Slack, texts, spreadsheets, meetings, social media. All bouncing your attention every few minutes. Each switch comes with a switching cost. Measured in seconds or minutes of lost focus. Studies in cognitive science show that task switching reduces working memory, increases mental fatigue, and decreases long-term retention of information. Over time, this constant switching creates what researchers call attention residue mental clutter that lingers even after you try to focus. This residue impairs your ability to enter deep work states, where high-level thinking and creativity occur. You spend your whole day in shallow focus, feel mentally drained, yet get very little done. That is burnout fuel. Worse, multitasking trains your brain into a reactive state. You lose the ability to hold thoughts over time, plan deeply, or prioritize effectively. Your cognitive architecture starts breaking down, like a processor overheating from too many tabs open. True recovery begins with monotasking, doing one thing at a time, deeply and fully. This resets dopamine, restores working memory, and helps your brain enter flow states, which are restorative rather than depleting. Challenge egg: what is one area of your workflow where you can remove switching and commit to deeper focus? Many people think burnout is fixed by a vacation, a day off, or sleeping in. But cognitive science shows that unstructured rest often fails to recover the brain. Why? Because during burnout, your default mode network, the part of your brain active when you are not focused, is dysfunctional. Instead of daydreaming or reflecting, your mind loops through unfinished tasks, worries, and judgments. This is active mental noise, not recovery. Burnout brains are often stuck in sympathetic overdrive. Even when you try to rest, your nervous system remains alert. Sleep is light, thoughts are noisy, and relaxation feels guilt-ridden. The solution is not do nothing. The solution is active recovery. Tools that signal to your brain that it is safe to downregulate. These include NSDR non-sleep, Deep rest teaching shown to improve learning, memory, and stress recovery. Mindful breath working, a physiological size, which reduce amygdala activity and lower cortisol. Focused attention meditation, which strengthens prefrontal control and reduces mental noise. Rest must be deliberate, structured, designed to give your brain a predictable path back to regulation. Burnout does not need more sleep. It needs more neural safety. Ask yourself, are you truly recovering? Or just pausing the chaos without resolving it? To recover from burnout, you must support your brain across 3 domains of structure, neurochemistry, and cognition. Here is a neuroscience-backed daily protocol 1. Wake and walk. Get sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. This anchors your circadian rhythm and stabilizes cortisol. 2. Caffeine delay. Wait 90 minutes after waking before consuming caffeine. This prevents afternoon crashes and supports natural dopamine cycles. 3. Monotask sprints. Do 90-minute focus blocks without distractions. Then take 10-minute recovery breaks. Walk, breathe, or use NSDR. 4. Protein and hydration. Stable blood glucose and electrolyte balance support prefrontal performance and mood regulation. 5. Digital sunset. No screen 90 minutes before bed. Bright light suppresses melatonin and keeps the brain in high alert. 6. NSR. Before bed, use guided NSDR or yoga nidra to enter recovery states faster. 7. Track one wing. End your day by writing down one meaningful action. This resets the dopamine system to reward effort, not just outcomes. These are not hacks. They are homeostasis restoration tools designed to return your brain to balance, rhythm, and adaptability. Challenge it. Pick 2 of these to commit to daily for the next 7 days. Watch what happens to your clarity. Burnout is not the end. It is a signal. Your brain is not broken. It is protecting itself. It is asking for a new operating system. You have a choice. Keep pushing against the biology of your mind or begin working with it. You now understand the real causes of burnout, not weakness, but cognitive overload, dopamine depletion, and stress circuit fatigue. You now have tools: NSDR, breathwork, monotasking, nutritional alignment, and neurochemical balance. And most importantly, you have insight you are not alone. Burnout is a global epidemic because our culture rewards effort over recovery, input over integration. But your brain cannot thrive in imbalance. So I ask you, what is one belief about burnout you are ready to release? And what is one new behavior you will adopt to protect your brain? Comment below. Share your story. Let someone else know they are not alone. If this video gave you clarity, support this channel by liking, subscribing, and sending it to someone whose brain is carrying too much.